Okay, this training video is for creating the labels with sequencing numbers for our contents department. So the first thing you want to do is open a Word document, and from the start to your home page, you're going to want to click on Mailings and then Labels. This will bring up your box to be able to create your label. So you're going to want to make sure that your label here is the Avery 5160. That is the label that we'll be using. And then we're going to we're going to put in the contents of what we want on our labels. So the first thing you need to do is create the code for the sequencing. So for doing that, you're going to click Control F9. That gives you two parentheses. You will type in those parentheses, capital SEQ space box, BOX. So it's going to be a sequence number for our box. So then to close those parentheses, we're going to hit F9 again, and that gives you a number. So that number is going to stay the same until I do the very last step and make them sequence. So don't worry about that number. It's going to stay a 1 until our very last step. So you're going to move your cursor to the other side of the 1, make sure that it's to the right side, and hit space, dash, space, and then you're going to put in the name of our customer, the last name of the customer. Hit enter. You're going to put in a job number for that customer, and then hit enter, and then what type of loss it is. So we'll say this was a water loss. We're going to want to make this a little bit bigger for our labels. So I'm going to highlight all of that. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go down to font. This will allow me to change the font style. I'm going to make it bold, and then I'm going to make it 14. That'll be big enough for us to all read on the label. So we'll hit OK. So now I'm going to want it to make a full page of labels for me. So I'm going to click on this button down here, New Document. That's going to create 1 page of labels for me. Now, each page of labels, it creates 30 labels. So depending on how many boxes you're going to need for that pack out, you'd want to calculate how many pages of labels you need. So I'm going to go ahead and create 3 pages of labels for this example. So I've got my first page of labels. So I'm going to come up here to the top with my cursor where I get a little arrow, and I'm going to highlight all 3 columns. After I do that, I'm going to hit Control C. That will copy that whole page of labels. I'm going to come down to the very last label over here on the side and hit right next to it where it unhighlights everything. Then I'm going to hit enter until another page comes up. And then I'm going to hit Control V. That creates a whole nother page of labels for me. And again, just continue to do that. Come to the very end, the last label, hit enter. Sometimes you have to hit enter twice for it to create that second page. And then you're going to hit Control V again. So that's going to continue to create your pages. You're just going to make as many pages as you need. So I'm going to make one more. So I'm going to hit enter again and Control V. And so now I have all the pages of labels that I need. I know that's going to be plenty for my pack out. I don't need to do anything else. But as you can tell, they're all the same number. So this is the important part that changes the sequences of the numbers. So you're going to hit Control A. That highlights every single label you just made, every single one of them. After you hit Control A, you're going to hit F9. That tells that code that we put in there to sequence the numbers in order. So now I have a 1 up here at the very beginning, and as you can tell, it goes 2, 3, 4, 5, and continues on to the end, and I made 120 labels. This will work for 50 pages of labels if you needed to. So you just continue to make as many page labels, and then you do that last step at the very end, the Control A and the F9, and that will sequence your numbers.